Hi guys, and welcome to Trucking Along with Kiersey. That's me, your positive voice in trucking. Today I want to talk about women in trucking, and I want to talk about men in trucking, and how do these two get along, and are women respected in trucking? Is this a good field for women? So stick around and I'll be right back. So before I get started, I want to say thank you guys. We have almost 1,500 views and like 87 subscribers, I think. And it's only been a month today, so I'm really excited. And as you see, Goofball's gonna walk around me and get in the way. That's my cute little cat. Again, I got asked about women in trucking. Is trucking a good field for women? How are women treated? Are they respected? I'm gonna say something that a lot of women don't want you to know, and this is the truth. Women are treated better in trucking. Honestly, women are treated better in trucking than men are treated. Fleet managers that I've talked to have told me that they'd rather have women on their fleet because we're safer. We don't have to drive as fast. We're not as aggressive in our driving. We're more conscientious. We're more organized as far as planning ahead, and we are more vocal when it comes to expressing problems. We're more feeling involved. So if we have an issue with a fleet manager or something, we're more likely to call them up and say, hey, this is the situation, I'm really not feeling this. Sometimes guys, they don't express how they're feeling, and they may not convey to their fleet manager in a proper way or a less aggressive way. Let's put it that way. So a woman might call up, and yeah, I'll admit it, sometimes I'll be like, yo, this really isn't working for me, and yeah, I sound like a whiny little cryy brat, but even if I sound like a whiny cryy brat, that's still better than calling up and saying, yo, I'm not doing this, this isn't working for me, no, I'm not doing this. Because then you're not giving the dispatcher an out. If I say, hey, I'm really not happy with this, and he says, well, if you do this, then I can do that. But if you just call them up and you're screaming and yelling, like, no offense, some guys do, when they do that, they're just like finalizing it. And now the guy is stuck. He needs to do his job too, but the man's not giving him a way to try to make amends or correct it. You know, a lot of guys, it's more like, this is my way or the highway. And I think women can kind of compromise a little bit more because they don't take that standoffish, aggressive route from the beginning. I kind of do, but I'm always expecting more combativeness from dispatch, and I don't get it, so that's one thing. The second thing is that men drivers and the workers out on the yards and stuff, they treat women a lot better. Even if you're backing up as a woman and you're brand new, guess what happens? Guys jump out of their trucks at 2 and 3 in the morning, and we'll be like, come on, and help guide you back. And they'll tell you which way to turn the wheel and everything. I kid you not. It's the truth. Yard dogs will say, oh, sweetie, just go drop it. And there are some women that be like, who's he think he calling sweetie? He can call me anything he wants. If he's not going to make me back into that door I can't get into, I will be bitch, hoe, whatever. Just don't make me go back that into the door, and he does my job so that I don't hit something. He can call me whatever he wants. Satan himself is my new name if that's what it gets to get that guy to put that in the door. Like, some people just, you know, I saw a guy call a woman hun and said, go ahead, hun, go in front of me in line. Who you calling hun? Well, It's better than calling you a hoe. It's better than calling you a bitch. I mean, come on. Like, he's being nice and telling you to go. You can't hold the door for a woman because then they want to scream and yell. And so I think that, you know, women really are treated better by men when we're out here. Like, I've had guys that backed me up, went and opened up my doors so that I could back up, would pull the pin on my tandems and guide me back and say, okay, keep coming, you want it in the 7th hole, keep coming, and then say, okay, stop. And, you know, the guys in the customers, I had a guy come out and say to me, hey, you didn't leave load locks in the trailer. You don't have to jump up and put the load locks in. I'll just put them in from the inside. Really? And guess what? All the guys around me are pulling forward and jumping in their trailers and putting load locks in. Now, the only reason I got my load locks in was because I'm a woman. I know it. It's the truth. And there was one customer I went to. There were like trucks everywhere. Trucks everywhere, right? The security guard told me, you expect to be here at least 5 or 6 hours. When I came through the gate, expect to be here 5 or 6 hours. It's been crazy today. They're really backed up. And to me, I'm like, whatever, because I'm getting paid detention pay after the first 2 hours of my appointment. And 6 hours, hey, I'm going to bed. And I'll get paid to sleep. So all these other guys are screaming and yelling. They go into the clerk in the office, and they're screaming and yelling. So I went in to go check into the office, and it was Halloween. And I always have candy. I always give the mechanics at the terminals, I give them cold water bottles, because it's usually hot and, you know, they're working on our trucks and everything. So I walked in and I had candy, and this driver is screaming, I've been waiting here for 2.5 hours. You MFers gotta put me in an effing door. You're wasting my time, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now, I kind of feel bad for that guy, because obviously he was an owner op, and, you know, he doesn't get paid detention. So, you know, I can understand how aggravating that could be for him. But at the same time, that's his choice to be an owner op, and that's one of the situations you have to deal with of being an owner op. I don't have that pressure of, oh, I have to go, 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 because I'll probably turn that, if I was sitting there 6 hours just for a door, okay, I would then make that my 10-hour break. Or I could make that like 8 in the sleeper. Now with the e-logs come in, that's going to be a little bit more difficult, but we'll figure that out when it happens. So, you know, that was my philosophy going in. And when that guy walked out the door, I said to the clerk, I was like, I am really sorry that you have to put up with people like that. And I know this sounds petty, but here's a treat. Happy Halloween. And I hope your day gets a little bit brighter. So I'm sorry. And he turned around and looked at me and says, you are the first person that didn't yell at me today, and just because you smiled, you're getting the door that I was just going to give to him. No lie. I went right into the door and backed in. So that owner op saw me, and he comes out banging on my truck. What do you think you're doing? That door should be mine. Go argue with them. Don't be banging on my door. Go argue with them. So, you know, there was just a report released saying that women sit at customers longer, and the suspicion is that women are, you know, they're not as aggressive. They're not going to go into the offices screaming and yelling. That's not my experience. My experience is when I go in and I'm pleasant and I ask them, oh, what's your name? My name's Kirsten. It's my real name. I use Kiersey. But, you know, yeah, my name's Kiersey. How you doing? Oh, I'm so thankful that you're dealing with this paperwork, because I could never deal with that. Make some chit chat, and guess what? All of a sudden you get everything you want. I've gotten dropping hooks out of places that were supposed to be live unloads just because I was nice. And I can't believe that people don't do this. It's like, wait a minute, you want to go in and you want to complain about these people and talk about how horrible they are and everything, but like, you don't even try to be nice to them first. And that goes back to what I was saying in my mega carrier video. It's the same way with dispatch. So I just don't believe the whole sexism, trucking is hard. Yeah, trucking is so hard. I'm sitting here in Hampton Inn right now. Yeah, it's that I'm supposedly not be able to afford because I'm a company driver, you know. I actually know lease ops at Prime that tell their students that company drivers will not make more than $500 a week, which I've proved in my other videos with my pay stubs. You know, so I'm here at the Hampton Inn for a few days, seeing a friend in Tennessee. I did 3,300 and something miles last week, plus it took me like another 300 to get here. So, you know, no, I'm making plenty of money. And yes, I can afford a better hotel because I don't like those crappy small ones. And Goofball is going to try to knock my camera over. But so anyway, going back to the sexism and the women, I'm more upset about people telling women they can't do something or shouldn't do it. This implied fear that women can't be out here, this implied fear that it's more dangerous for women or that women are disrespected, that prevents women from coming out here. Now, there are women like me, or just, it doesn't matter, male or female, that you're either a doer or you're a dreamer. If you're a doer, you can do anything, okay? I've traveled the world, I've written and published 5 books, I've sold books and audiobooks and paperbacks all over the world. Like in India, in Japan, you know, all through Europe. I think the only place I didn't sell on the Amazon platform was Brazil. To me, that's freaking amazing. So if any of you people speak Portuguese, I would totally love for you to transcribe my books, translate my books. So, but, so if I listened to people who told me, oh, well, your books would never sell, then I wouldn't even have tried it. If I would have listened to people tell me, oh, trucking is so hard, you'll never be able to do it, I would never have tried it. So my point is, don't listen to these people. If this is something you think you want, then do it. But I think, you know, they make a big deal about numbers, and while the trucking companies aren't doing things to bring in women, and there's not enough women in trucking, I honest to God do not care if women come into trucking or not. I don't. What I want is a driver who's not going to kill me on the road. If I'm going down Cabbage, which is a steep grade, 6%, and it zigzags like a rattlesnake, okay? If I'm going down that's off the side of a mountain, and somebody's behind me losing control of their rig, do you think I care if that's a man or a woman? And does that woman, if it is a woman, does she care about whether she pushes me off the side of the hill, the mountain, or pushes a man off the side of the mountain? She's not going to say, oh, look, Prime, that's a woman driver. Oh, I'm going to go, let me just crash into CR England and push them off the side of the road because, you know, that's a man driving. No, give me a break, okay? I want people on the road who aren't going to kill me, man or woman. That's it. And that's what trucking companies want. Trucking companies don't care if you're a purple gorilla smoking a pickle. And that's how I felt about my trainer when I went to Prime for CDL School. I didn't even say, oh, I want a non-smoking woman. I didn't do that. I took a smoking man, and I'm a non-smoker. Do you know why I did that? Because I wanted somebody who could teach me. He was awesome. He did a great job. I wanted to learn so badly that I didn't care who it was. Again, they could have put me with Satan, and I would have taken that because I wanted the education. So if you want something and you make it happen, there is nobody that can hold you back. There is nobody that can stop you. And I hate the perpetual victims of, oh, well, my trainer was mean to me and he was sexist, or my company was sexist. Companies are not sexist. Companies are about money and profit, okay? They don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic. They don't care if you're a Jew. They don't care if you're a homosexual. I have a friend who's a homosexual, and he said to me, well, you know, in Missouri, a lot of the, you know, people are Christian. If I wanted to bring my boyfriend on the truck, how's my fleet manager gonna react? I'm like, he's not gonna care. As long as you run the miles, he's not gonna care. Because my fleet manager is about keeping his drivers happy, because happy drivers run harder and he gets paid by our miles. So the happier you are, the harder you run, the more money he makes in his pocket, not just Prime, but in his own personal pocket. That's how it works. So this is crap. If I call up my fleet manager and say, hey, I need a load that, you know, is going to have a lot of miles on it, and there's a guy in a truck next to me calling up the same guy saying I need a load with a lot of miles on it, he's not going to sit there and say, well, she's a woman and he's a man, so I'm going to give it to the man. Guess what he's going to do? He's going to say, well, okay, she's never been late on a load and she does everything safe, and he's a jerk, and I had to call him 3 times this month to wake his butt up to tell him to go deliver his load. Who do you think's going to get that long run? I am. So the fear mongering, and that's how I see it, of women are disrespected in trucking, is crap. Okay? It's crap. And that belittles women. When somebody tells me that I can't or I shouldn't do something, that to me is infuriating. That is belittling to me. I see that as offensive. Being on the road is no more dangerous than you being home right now. People, think about this. When you were driving home from work, do you take the same routes home from work every day? Did you notice the black pickup truck behind you when your kids were fighting in the back seat of the car and you were coming from the grocery store? Do you ever stop to think that some assailant, whether it's a robber, rapist, or murderer, is outside your home watching and sees that your kids have bikes scattered and jungle gyms in the backyard? So most likely the kids are going to leave a door open as they're running in and out of the house all the time, going down to their neighbor's house, to their friends' houses. Your doors are going to probably be unlocked at one point. That is a trigger. You know, and people think, oh, well, out there is unsafe. Well, guess what? Every place I go out there is somebody's nice, quiet, safe hometown. I'm in Jackson, Tennessee right now. Nice, quiet, safe area. But I'm sure that if I look back in the history, there was probably murders here. There was probably, when I got on my CDL trainer's truck, he was taking me all over the country, and I was taking pictures of the signs, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're in Texarkana. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, are you kidding? In the 1940s, there was an unsolved serial murderer here. Like, he killed like 5 people in this rinky-dink town, and they never found out who did it. That's not amazing to you? And he says, no. And then we went to West Memphis, and I'm taking pictures of the signs. He said, what are you doing? There's 3 little kids that were completely mutilated and murdered, and there's 3 teenagers that went to jail for it. And for 20 years, they've been trying to fight to get these kids out of jail, saying that they didn't do it. And there's controversy. Did they do it? Didn't they do it? You're not amazed by that? Well, no. So then we go to I-80, and we're in Indiana, and he's like, what are you doing? I live here. And I was like, well, guess what? There was a serial murderer across I-80 that used to own a chain of grocery stores. He was a self-hating homosexual, and he took a bunch of men back to his house and killed them, slaughtered them in his $5 million mansion. And he was married, and his wife had no idea that for like years he was killing people and burying them in their yards. So guess what? You're not safe at home. Ed Gein, Plainsfield, Wisconsin, little rinky-dink town with one bar and one hardware store. He was the inspiration for Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs. This guy killed his neighbors and then used their skin for lampshades and for upholstery on chairs. Who do you think his neighbors were? They felt safe at night. So guess what? You're no safer than I am. I'm probably more safe than you are because my neighbors every night at the truck stop are only 6 feet away. I mean, I could seriously take a hammer and smash their windows next to me. And trust me, that's going to wake them up. You know, if somebody's going to stalk me, they have to follow me 300-400 miles to stalk me before I stop. They get an A for effort for that one. I mean, I don't know. If a guy was stalking me after 400 miles, I might consider him giving him my phone number or something, because, you know, that's, I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. But if you're a woman out there, please, 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 please do not try to go into trucking because you hear a bunch of naysayers. Because I will tell you, like I said, the men will get out of the trucks, they will help back you up. I've had men that thought that I was hysterical. They asked me what it's like being on a truck, being a woman, and how men treat me. And then when I tell them, I've had guys buy me lunch at the lunch counter, be like, oh, this is the funniest crap I've heard in years. I really needed that. I mean, men are not disrespectful out here. If you look for sexism or racism or whatever, you will find it, absolutely. And I wrote an article about sexism on truckingtruth.com, and all the men were very supportive. One woman popped up and said she joined just to respond to me. She joined the forum just to respond to me. And her response was, she gets asked all the time if she's a driver, and that they assume that her husband's the driver, and, oh, it's so nice that you pump your husband's gas. Number one, I've never had anybody talk to me like that. Never happened. 4 years, never happened. Okay. And number two, she then said that the problem in trucking with sexism starts with the women who go out on the road with their men, not necessarily their husbands, but their men, and that guys refer to women that they take out on the road as seat covers or slip covers, and they had all these different names and derogatory names for the women. And she says, it's all those women. I see more and more every day. Okay. Well, guess what? I see more and more husband-wife teams every day. I see more and more wives who, now that these people are in their 40s and 50s and their children are grown and in colleges, the couple is coming out on the road, whether they're both driving or only one's driving. They're married couples. So what she's claiming is that, you know, she's putting her own sexism and applying it. She's being hypocritical because she's transferring the sexism that she's claiming she's experiencing onto those other people. She sees a man and a woman walking by, all of a sudden, oh, that's just his girlfriend, that's his hoe, that's his seat cover. Oh, I know guys that turn out the women for tricks, and, you know, she's just a hooker. Really? Because most of the people I meet, they're husband wives. And I'm going to say probably 30-40% of them, the wives are driving. But just because you only see one of them driving to the truck stop doesn't mean they're both not drivers. So you don't like people assuming you're not a driver, but you're going to assume the other women aren't drivers. That's sexism in itself. You know, so women are just as guilty of this sexist crap that they accuse the men of being. So that's my rant for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell so you can get the notification of my next videos. And if you are a woman driver, please put down in the comments if you've ever had any kind of sexism, if you're treated better on the road. I want to hear about your situation, and then we could let other women drivers that are planning on coming out here know what's going on. So thanks, and have a great day. Bye.